Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Trafford Talk. Today, obviously, I'm joined again by Robbie for another Let's Talk United. It's been a few days since we've done one of these because it's been a bit of a crazy week. Lots of stuff going on in the footballing world related to Manchester United. Today we're going to talk about the protests, actually. So on Saturday, I went to the protest. There was about 3,000 people turned out at Old Trafford to make their voice heard against the Glazer ownership. When I went, to be honest, I didn't expect there to be 3,000 people there. I was very impressed by how many people turned out. It's a very good atmosphere there. There's a feeling of real unity. And it was quite nice as well in the sense, because obviously it's the first time as fans we've all been gathered for a while, since obviously everything's gone on. But I was really encouraged, actually, by how many people turned out. And just want to give a shout out. These kids, there was these kids on the Trinity statue. I've got a few of them messaged me afterwards to say it was them. But these few kids on the Trinity statue just kept the protest going. You know, they kept it going. They kept singing songs. I spoke to a couple of them afterwards and just kind of said, well done and stuff, because they did really, really well to carry it on. And obviously, Florentino Perez said 16 to 24-year-olds don't care about football. Well, I'm 21 and I was there. A lot of people the same age or younger than me was there. Those kids on top of that thing as well, you know, and there's a clip that's gone viral from Full-Time Devils, which showed that kid's, in his kind of Liam Gallagher style accent saying how he wanted the club back. But I thought it was brilliant seeing so many younger people there. It was a really great day, actually. And it was just kind of, it just showed that this whole idea that young people aren't interested in football is a joke. It's an absolute joke. So many people between 16 and 24 were there. Obviously, there is another protest this Sunday, which is rumoured to be bigger and better than the one the other day, which I'm hoping for. But Robbie, what are your thoughts on the protest? I mean, personally, I think it was a big success in the end.
Yeah, I think overall, it's not over yet. We all know that. There's still a long way to go and a lot to fight for, but it's a good start. It's better than other teams. Liverpool's protest was a joke, to be honest. There's hardly anyone there. If you want the owners to actually get out of the club, if you want a new model, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it just by being online and saying, "Oh, Glazer's out." Yes, that does help, but it's not everything. And at the end of the day, if you're causing a scene almost outside the stadium peacefully, then the Glazers will know what's going on, and hopefully they will sell, because I just hope it's the beginning of the end. And I've said that to you quite a lot, but I mean, the fact that there was over 3,000 people there, it just shows that it's got potential to keep growing and get bigger and better every time. Because if fans can keep wearing masks, if fans can keep doing it peacefully, then I've not got an issue with it. But obviously, if it does get violent, if they don't wear masks, if they don't follow the rules, then that's another issue set in. And for me, obviously, it's not great. In this circumstance with COVID, we can't get into stadiums. I think we probably have seen a similar scenario. I remember back in 2010 where we wore the scarves from Newton Heath, basically symbolised like the old club. But yeah, I think the numbers were a great start, and it's the beginning of the end for the Glazers, as I keep saying. And they've got pressure put on them. And I mean, I don't know if you've seen it, mate, but they even get stopped in Tampa, just getting asked questions about Man United, about what's actually happening, because I think they get it quite lightly in America. Not that many people actually like football. So it's all about the American football, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Everyone wants to know about them, the Glazers. No, they don't care about Man United. They want to hear about that. And it's quite funny, obviously, because he finally gets stopped and he finally get asked questions, and he didn't even know what to say.
He's very evasive.
So hopefully that's a sign. Thanks, guys, obviously, for tuning in. It'd be great, obviously, to hear your views about the protests. I know a lot of people couldn't make it. I couldn't make it. Obviously, I live in Glasgow, Scotland. I'd love to go to one of them, but you know, I'm trying to help out as much as I can in other ways by helping out with, you know, the Man United community. You know, I'm keeping it going on Twitter as well. I think that's another thing, Alex. We've obviously got different kind of points. You know, I mean, you're a regular. You go to the games regularly, whereas I wouldn't say I'm casual. You know, I'm still a supporter. I go to all the. I literally watched all the games. I go to as many games as possible, and I follow it online very closely, as you know. So it's one of those things where I think everyone needs to do their own bit. Some people can do more.
Yeah.
Um,
And what I would say is, I think
that's what,
obviously, you know, you can say it's only a hashtag, but I genuinely think even if people just tweeting out hashtags or just tweeting out constantly their thoughts, I think it does help because it gains traction. Because what we've got to remember, the Glazers and Woodward care a lot about social media interactions. So even if like people like yourself who can't go to the protest, it really does help just tweeting stuff and just getting your voice heard about it. It really does help. And I think what's really encouraging to me is other fan bases like City didn't protest, Spurs didn't protest, Arsenal did a good protest to be fair, Chelsea did, but Liverpool as well were quite divided. I think us and Arsenal really are the only fan base that are fully united against our owners, fully. Because Liverpool, there's still a bit of a divide. I mean, the people I know that Liverpool fans don't like FSG and they want them gone. But their protest kind of showed that, you know, it's not all of them that want them gone. And like, see, my view on this is while the people at the Spurs and Liverpool protests get mocked because there was only so few of them, I commend them for actually standing up for what they believe in. Even though there wasn't many of them, they all still went and did it. Even if it was like Liverpool looked about 20 people. Well done to those 20 people who got up that day and thought, I'm going to make a difference. I mean, what do you think about, because, I mean, for me personally, you know, I've only had a United Twitter account for about a year, but since I've had this account, I mean, this last week is the most unified this fan base has ever been, in my opinion. I mean, do you agree?
yeah, I've had it probably about a year as well now. You know, I kind of just got it whenever lockdown started, and it kind of seems that way because I think everyone wants the same thing, you know. And it's not. I hate that love United, hate Glazers. Like I feel as if they do it a lot kind of for like their own benefit rather than you know, the overall factor of like we all hate the Glazers. I think it's more about the fact like agendas that are pushed more, whereas this isn't. This is literally like everyone's, as you said, unified and kind of ready to fight back against them, which is great to see. I mean, I absolutely love that, and I think it is a step in the right direction because we've not obviously had that for a while. I can't really think of the last time that it's actually happened. You know, and this comment here, it's like people are almost kind of condemning the fact that we are out here and we want to be heard, we want to be known. And for once, I look at it and I'm like, you know, we are united because it's quite a big word to use. And obviously, I know it's quite a controversial thing to say because it is, you know, you get that and people are saying, oh, top reds and you get your armchairs, people, like things like that. That really annoys me because
Yeah, I know.
everyone
I
can
get called
really
top
support
red all
whoever
the
they
time.
want.
Like it's, I think the thing is though, to the credit of a lot of people who I've disagreed with a lot about various things, usually about Ollie, a lot of those people who I have disagreed with about various things have just put everything to one side and said, look, this is just about this now. And that comment there about all Man United legends should support Glazer out. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because we've seen Rio and Gary Neville kind of speak out and retweet things, but they've never actually kind of tweeted the Glazer out thing. Other than them two, there's not really many people. I know Nicky Butt is quite vocal about it because obviously he lost his job, and I think he's just had enough of the whole structure. There's not been a great deal else from legends of the club. I mean, my question was going to be, do you think that would make a difference? But then I just can't get out of my head the fact in 2010, David Beckham at Old Trafford had a green and gold scarf. David Beckham is the most famous person, well, one of the most famous people on the planet, right? And him wearing a green and gold scarf at the time, I remember it felt huge. It was in that game against Milan. Do you think this time it feels different to that time? Because for me, it does. Because I really believe something could happen now. Whereas before, it was kind of like we were voicing our opinion against the Glazers, but we didn't really think anything could happen, you know?
Yeah, I think we almost voiced our opinion back then. I mean, I was quite young at the time, so I wasn't too in the loop and too involved in it, but obviously I remember it very well. But back then, it was like almost as if, oh, we just want them out because they don't fit the style. Whereas now we know for sure that they don't fit the style. And they proved this because, I mean, the main reason why I think the Glazers will move on and they don't have a future is the fact that their plan didn't work. Their plan didn't go down well. You know, out of touch with other United fans. And I think it's quite clear to see that. And whenever I do think of the Glazers, I just think now they're not successful with what they've done for United. They've lost money, and you know the way they do it is their long-term dream of pulling away into this Super League. They get all this money. Is when you know it's disbanded almost. Surely that's the end. You know what's their plan B? Because I'd love to see it, and even that today, Alexei with Eric Bailly got his contract extension. I personally don't agree with that. I don't think he should. I don't think he deserves it. I don't think. I just don't think he deserves it. You know, I can't even go into any more detail. It's just the fact that he's never fit. We need a new centre back, and we need to free up wages clearly, so we can get a new centre back in because he's not fit enough. You know, so that's Bailly and Jones now that we've got who really don't play. And whenever Bailly does play, he's great, and I really do like him. But it's just the injury concern, which is just too much for me. And that also comes back to the protests of who's actually running this club.
Well, the reason Bailly's got a new deal is because it's a lot cheaper for us to just give him a new deal and to go out there and go, let's buy a 40 million centre back. It's Glazeronomics. I mean, so since Pep Guardiola's come into City, if you're at this point now looking at it, only 3 of his players now were there before he came in. So he's basically been given a whole new squad in the space of 4 years or 5 years. We've still got players from the Ferguson era. Like, I mean, the Phil Jones thing, I feel a bit sorry for the guy because he gets a lot of hate. But, you know, the fact Phil Jones is there still is objectively ridiculous. Regardless of what you think about the guy, it is crazy. At City, Phil Jones would have been out the door after a year. City, you know, Pep, for example, he bought Bravo. After 2 games, it was clear Bravo wasn't good enough. So they went, oh, you can have Edison now. Whereas with the Glazers, it's like, okay, Ollie, you've had Maguire. You can't have another centre-back now. Or you've had James, you can't have another right winger. Or do you know what I mean? It's like you get one player and then that's that. Whereas at City, obviously, they just get unlimited money. Now, I don't know if you watched the Cup final, but I saw most of it yesterday in between doing various things. I don't mean to be negative because everyone knows I'm usually quite positive. But I was just sat there thinking, right, they get unlimited amounts of money every year. They're really good. Okay, we need to catch up with them. If they're spending unlimited amounts of money every year and the Glazers aren't investing, how on earth is Ollie or whoever's in charge, whether it was Jose or Van Gaal or Moyes, how are any of these managers expected to catch up with City when the Glazers are taking money out of our club and then Sheikh Mansour is injecting billions into their club?
Well, see, the thing is, Alex, with Man City, as you said, they've clearly given so much money into the club, which then allows them to almost trade players. You know, if they don't like them, just sell them, move them on. Whereas with us, everything feels like a long-term project, even though most of the players aren't, and are not good enough to be long-term projects, and that is clear. You know, we need players to move on now. We need to free up wage budgets, which is just isn't happening. You know, we've still got Phil Jones on it, probably about 100k a week. Eric Bailly, I mean, I could be wrong, but I think he'll be on the same as well. There's so many players, and I mean, I think Romero, yeah. It's like these guys literally don't get a game.
I know.
And you look at it and you think, who is running this club? I've said that before. Who's actually running this? Because they're doing an absolute terrible job. But the way they're running it, the way they're setting it up, the structure behind the transfers as well, it has got better recently. But previously, before that, David Moyes' time, Louis van Gaal, honestly, I think it was that pick the name out of the hat because some of the guys they brought in were just
even Mourinho as well. I mean,
even
do you know
Mourinho
what?
as well.
I think David Moyes, out of all of them, is the one that got kind of the most harshly treated by the ownership and Woodward. David Moyes came in to the job and he was given Marouane Fellaini on deadline day. Okay. We all know David Moyes wasn't good enough, but he literally got no tools to get his own mould on the team. It's hard to, inherit a team that has been under the same manager for 30 years and then not have any of your own players in there. I still don't think David Moyes was good enough at all, but I felt sorry for him. And then you look at Van Gaal and he said himself, he's talking like he got his 5th or 6th priority targets. And then Mourinho the same. I don't think Mourinho wanted Sanchez. And it's why I'm always quite cautious to pile a lot of blame on our managers. This is why, as people know, I'm very loyal to Ollie. I was very loyal to Van Gaal. Obviously, I wasn't that loyal towards Jose towards the end, but overall I felt a bit sorry for him because whoever you are, if you go into Manchester United, right, your job is to win the league. It's very hard to win the league, whether you're Jose Mourinho, Ollie, Van Gaal, or Moyes, when your neighbours across the road are investing properly. Liverpool have a good structure in place, and then yet the owners here and the CEO here are idiots. They're complete idiots. And like you said, there's no clarity to the transfer structure at all. We saw ridiculous signings, I mean, where do you think we go from here? I mean, obviously the protests are going to sustain. They're going to keep happening. I think the Liverpool one's going to be a big statement. Do you see us as a fan base staying united and making a change constantly, or do you think it will wear away? Because I personally obviously hope this unity stays because I love it.
I hope that people don't just use this as a platform to grow, share their agendas, and kind of move on from there. I hope they use it as a platform where they can meet new people. As you said, unify. That's probably the key word. And just work together. Everyone wants the same thing, to get the Glazers out, and they have done for years, but now all of a sudden we just know how big it is. And I mean, this channel was set up to be quite balanced, but I would say this has been quite balanced for the way that some other channels are speaking about the Glazers. No one's got anything good to say about them. No one's got any constructive criticism to say about them either, because they've done absolutely nothing for us. They know nothing about football. And at the end of the day, they've not got football heads down below either. Ed Woodward had no clue what was going on. I think Gill did well. Who was in him? He done well because he could work with Sir Alex hand in hand. He was a football man. His boy played. Oliver Gill played with the club. He knew what he was talking about, and it was almost as if he kind of bounced off each other. Whereas Ed Woodward, with all the other managers, it's as if, what you're doing around about me because I could sack you whenever. That is what it was like.
And it's a bit like a David Brent character, isn't he?
He's just vile, to be honest. The way he went about his business, the players he brought in put us back about 5 years, and now we're finally, almost bringing it back to what we were at. Because I don't know if you remember, mate, see back to David Moyes' time, Louis van Gaal time, the players that we were bringing in, like Sneijder and even Steiger, who was just like crazy, past it completely. who are bringing these guys in just to make it look good, and they didn't even play well. Just to get a name in for the summer, that's honestly what it felt like. And most of those guys have moved on now. It just shows you how bad the recruitment is, because teams like Liverpool, teams like Man City, yes, they've made some bad decisions in the past, but it just seems as if everything is almost falling into place for them. And I still think we are, that bit away from that success. And as you said, Man City just seem to keep going, and they were dominant at the weekend in the Carabao Cup final.
They were completely dominant. And do you know what the thing is as well? Before the Glazers came in, if you look at our transfers from the late 90s to kind of about 2004, we brought in the best. We brought in Wayne Rooney, we brought in Ruud van Nistelrooy, we brought in Rio Ferdinand, we brought in Varane. I know it didn't work out with Varane, but those were the best players we could get at the time. That's what Man United is. But for 17 years, 16 years or so, we've not been able to get the best players. Make no mistake, if the Glazers leave and a new ownership comes in with money, we'll go back to getting the best of the best. We'll be in the talks for Mbappe. We will. It just will happen, because people forget that before the Glazers, we bought Rio Ferdinand and Wayne Rooney. That's like the equivalent. I mean, that's the best centre-back and best striker in the world at the time. Younger players, in terms of that fact. They were younger players that we managed to bring in. Signing Rooney then was probably like the equivalent, I guess, of signing Mbappe now. It was such a huge thing. And the reason Ferguson, for me, is just undoubted. I mean, obviously you agree, Robbie. He's the best manager ever. Is because he won he won 5 leagues in 7 years, and he didn't really buy that much. Okay, there were some big players in there. Obviously, Carrick and Berbatov are the two that spring to mind. The big signings. Other than that, though, you're looking at players like Manuccio. You're looking at Obertan. You're looking at Smalling and Jones.
I mean, Alexei, we always go back to that point, though, where we sold Ronaldo for 80 million. We brought in Michael and Antonio Valencia and Gabriel Obertan. Just not good enough. And it's been going on for years. I mean, we had the one good year. What I can remember was whenever we brought in Chris Smalling, Phil Jones. No, sorry. Phil Jones, Ashley Young, and David De Gea, which at the time were good signings. But
I think
apart from that, I can't ever remember, any good windows, apart from obviously signing Robin van Persie, but still wasn't a high transfer fee. You need to remember that. We signed an agent, Van Persie, who won us the league, yes, but it was almost like an Alexis Sanchez type deal where, he would print the name on the back of your shirt.
Do you know what the Van Persie deal for me was as well? I remember when it happened. I remember I was on holiday in Cardiff with my family. I remember seeing it on the TV. And I was just really shocked we'd signed him, because Ferguson never signed players nearly in their 30s at all. And I think what happened, what that was in hindsight, I don't know if you agree, but it felt like Ferguson knew he was going and he just wanted to win another league, obviously, understandably. And that's why we brought someone like Van Persie in, because if you look at it before, the signings he made were a lot more kind of, I'm not saying Van Persie's a bad signing, of course, he was brilliant. They were always more subtle and more shrewd, the signings he made before. Whereas Van Persie was like a kind of, do you know what I mean when I say like an obvious signing? Like a signing where you go, oh yeah, we'll get Van Persie. Whereas before it was kind of more subtle signings, where that was like
It was kind of out of the blue.
Yeah.
I was not expecting it. And I can remember it just going along the bottom line of my screen on Sky Sports, and I was like, what? Because I wasn't really into listening to the journalists. I don't even know if that happened back then, but obviously we did make the odd good signing. I'm not saying we didn't with the Glazers. Yeah, it's been pretty unfair saying that. However, they probably had absolutely no clue who the guy actually was. I bet he didn't even know who Robin van Persie was, what he stood for. He didn't even know the offside rule up until 2 years after they bought the club. So, you can only imagine it now about them knowing VAR. They probably don't at all. which is
It's
scary.
painful, isn't it? Really. I mean, I just thinking about the Van Persie signing. Then, like, I just wish we were good again. You know, just like I know we are pretty good at the moment, but do you not just imagine just going to a season and just winning the league? You know, how good was that?
I mean, you never know if you bring in the right players in the summer. Maybe a few. It's not going to happen. No, it's not. But I'm hopeful, and
I think
I
it's
am more hopeful than ever.
because if the Glazers sell, which I hope they do, I'm very happy to take this hit. But the hit we will take is there'll be no signings in the summer because they'll be selling up. They won't be putting money in. And obviously, if they stay, there's going to be no signings. Obviously, the best case scenario here is they go, obviously, and there's no signings. But I just can't. I mean, even before all of this last week, I couldn't see us signing anyone. Now we're not getting the Super League money anymore. Now they're considering selling. I don't know about you, but can you really see us spending 100 million on Jadon Sancho? Like, really?
I think if they sell, they need to sell up quick. So they don't need to do any business during the summer. Surely that would just be crazy. So hopefully it does happen soon. As I said though, I'm hopeful it's going to happen, and I think it will happen. I think it's just a waiting game. I think it's a big sign that Ed Woodward's left. And yes, Richard Arnold is almost a puppet for the Glazers. However, you need to remember that he's not actually appointed yet. They've not appointed anyone, and Ed Woodward also now might leave at the end of this season. He was meant to leave at the end of the year, but now he's leaving at the end of this season, which is great. I am so happy about that. And hopefully we can move in the right direction. Because I've got certain guys like Dan Fletcher who are higher up, who I'm not saying are like masterminds in terms of like signings, but he'll be a good voice in there. John Murto as well. He'll be good. Those guys know what they're talking about. They know the club, and they've been in it for years. I don't know what to expect. You know what fans want, which is the issue with our club, which is the issue with Arsenal, which is the issue with Liverpool as well. The owners are out of touch. They don't know anything about the clubs. They don't know anything about the teams and the culture. They just expected this all to happen, which is so naive. And looking back on it, it's very embarrassing. It's very embarrassing from an insider who, even as a partial fan, because my mum, who doesn't really watch football, was like, "What is this?" Like,
yeah,
seriously,
it's
wow, it's absolute madness. But I mean, rounding it off, Alexei, it's going in the right direction, and I'm happy you are obviously vocal about it on Twitter, because we need people like that who are going to constantly push and push and push.
I've been impressed by how vocal everyone's been, and obviously I'm trying to do my bit, however small it is. I'd urge everyone on Sunday at 2:00, if you can be at Old Trafford, be there. Obviously, a lot of people can't for various reasons. A lot of people just can't physically get there. That's completely fine if you're not there. Just do stuff like retweet tweets about it, or just tweet about it. Just keep getting your message out there. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but I'll just finish on this. That Leeds game yesterday, obviously I really wanted us to win and I was invested in it, but because of everything going on, it just felt so irrelevant to me. Did you feel the same, that it just felt, because we've not even done a review of it, because it's just not great to talk about with it, is there?
Yeah, I've not really got much to talk about. I mean, I watched the game and I was just like, so much else going on. Obviously, I wanted my team to win, but it's just like, and we also thought, who's going to want to jump on a review? Who's going to want to get involved? Probably no one. Who's going to want to listen to a Glazers Out podcast? Probably everyone. It's one of those things where these things are just bigger than football at the moment. And it's, yes, we obviously know Man United is a global business, but there needs to be some sort of kind of reality check for these owners. Just to know that we aren't just that. We're a community-driven club as well. Oh, honestly, mate, I could speak about this all the time. I know this was a very last-minute pod, but it's just like there's so much going on. things are changing every day. And guys, I am pretty sure you know this. You know, I've seen this on the Twitter feed. We are live, you know, quite a lot. Just to cover all the latest news. And Alexei, we are literally one of the first people to do it. We're trying our best to keep up because there's so much going on just now. I mean, what a time to start the Let's Talk United podcast.
Yeah, crazy timing that, wasn't it, really? God.
Yeah, I can't believe it's actually happened the way it is, because we meant to start it a few months ago. It just didn't materialise. We had a lot of other things going on. And, you know, it's kind of started at the best times. We've had great numbers. Things have started to calm down a bit now, but, I mean, you know, Super League was just mental. I mean, I hope I don't ever need to do a podcast on that again.
Do you know what? I think the reason we didn't do much for a couple of days is because I felt like my head had been through a washing machine. Because, you know, we did about 4 or 5 podcasts in the space of 3 days. So much was going on last week. I felt so mentally drained after it because it was crazy, wasn't it? Everything going on. I mean, I'm
It
just
was
glad.
literally, it was never ending. You know, those days were the longest days possible.
Yeah,
Oh,
crazy. But obviously, yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I can't tell you when we will be back. We will be back soon because something else is going to happen that we'll need to talk about. I mean, this show's almost become the staple point of this channel now because it's a good way of rounding up everything going on. But obviously,
yeah, it wasn't even meant to be. It wasn't even meant to be. That's the thing. You know, Ahmed and Cam, just there's no point in them doing previews and reviews at the moment, unless it is a good game where people will actually want to listen. Oh, everything's all over the place, Alexei.
it's honestly, it's a mess. I mean, we've got. I just remember this now. This week we've got a European semi-final and we're playing Liverpool on Sunday, but it just doesn't feel like it at all because the Glazers thing is just so much. It just dwarfs it completely, and that's all I can think about really. The Glazers stuff, and you know, I just hope we can make a change, all of us. But yeah, like I said earlier, to repeat it again, 2 p.m. Sunday, Old Trafford is going to be huge. Obviously, if you can, I mean, before I went to the one on Saturday, I did a lateral flow test before to check I was negative, and I did one when I got home, so I was negative both times. If you can do that, that would be brilliant. Obviously, just for everyone's safety. And if not, just wear a mask or whatever, you know. But yeah, so like I say, Sunday, 2 p.m., everyone be there. I think we will be back on Wednesday, I believe, for a preview for the European semi-final against Roma. I think Ahmed's going to host that, I
Yeah, well,
believe.
it's just honestly just depends. You know, just what's going on at the moment. If things get bigger than the game, probably not. But yeah, if things seem to calm down, then we'll see. Hopefully, hopefully it does go ahead, and hopefully we can go back to normal. But I mean, Alexei, we're almost taking over the reins at the moment and batting out the content, batting out the podcast.
Yeah, but yeah, so I mean, guys, who knows what's going to happen in the next few days? But obviously, everyone, thank you for watching and listening. Obviously, follow us on Twitter at Trafford_talk. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, everything like that. And, you know, keep getting the hashtags going. Keep trying to force the Glazers out. It doesn't matter if you can't go to a protest. Just keep making your voice heard. Robbie, as always, very nice speaking to you. Lovely little catch up and therapy session about everything going on. But everyone stay safe. And yeah, let's keep getting these owners out.